Hi everybody, my name is Ray Richter. Just kind of diving right into it. I'm hoping to do my project a little bit differently. I don't want to take the approach of a PowerPoint and just taking a bunch of data and just reading off a piece of paper. What I'm going to call the experiment portion we'll do after the presentation. But for this, just a little bit of intro. My name is Ray Richter. I did some time in the military prior to this, and I did a lot of travels. I'll show you how this all intertwines, but I did a couple years in Alaska. And when I was there, I saw the northern lights, a lot of dark skies there. That's kind of where I fell in love with, slowly fell in love with photography, but I was really interested in, what's out there. It was so dark there, I was young, I was alone, so I just did a lot of thinking, and it was just so interesting, just what, where does it end? Does it end? Stuff like that. So, fast forward a little bit, got into photography stuff. I do some of my own stuff, video for houses, got my lighting here, a background here, and for the last couple years, about 2 years ago, I got into night photography. So like long exposures, star trails. I'll try and pop some of those up here while I'm talking. With a lot of influence from a lot of the guys in Southwest of the states, California, Texas, a lot of those guys. Lance Kymeg would be one. If anybody's interested in this kind of stuff, check his stuff out. LanceKymeg.com, I believe, or thenightsky.com, SKYE. If you're into this kind of stuff that I've kind of shot and you want to learn your way around it. But just as I was shooting that, I kind of would learn star trails, and from there I would do like astrophotography, kind of zooming in on, from what I can. I don't have any telescope lenses and stuff like that where, it's all computerized and it moves with the terms. It's fallen away from me now. It's like an equatorial, I forget what the name of the thing is, but it moves with the Earth, so you can zoom in out there, and it's not gonna, because if you're zoomed in way out there, something out there, the movement, you're gonna lose it. You're not even gonna have time to take a shot of it. So moving on from that, just kind of did some research on different things that I haven't shot before, because I'm trying to keep this a little bit different. So I came up with the Zodiacal lights, which is something that you'll learn. I'll try and teach you what they are, show you how you can see them, when you can see them, and if you want to shoot them. Maybe there's somebody else out there that wants to do kind of what I did. I've just heard a lot about it from a lot of the pro guys, and I wanted to try it myself, so I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to do it. And what I did to keep it a little bit different is, after this, I'll do a presentation for them just to give you kind of the details, break it down for you. And then after that, I'll do what I call the, keeping with the science terms, the experiment portion, where we'll break down before the shoot, maybe some stuff during the shoot, and kind of what we got after. But it'll all be focused on zodiacal lights and all that kind of stuff, so we're not going to veer off that course. So if you were interested in maybe photography, and you could use this even as a tutorial if you like this. Either way, I'm trying to keep you entertained here. I'm not going to keep you bored with PowerPoint stuff. And I hope you enjoy what I do, and hopefully you like it. And I look forward to seeing all your guys' stuff. So for now, we'll move on to the presentation part. Hopefully it's not too boring for you. Alright, see ya. Alright, hey guys, here we're going to go to the presentation portion of my project here. This will be right before my experiment portion. I'm just trying to keep it different. I don't want to bore people with PowerPoints. I don't like being bored by them. And quite honest, I'm not that good at making them. So I hope this is good. You learn some stuff from this. I'm more of like a hands-on guy, so we'll see what we can do here. So I'm doing my project on the zodiacal lights here, also known as a false dawn or a false dusk, depending on your location in the States here. Alright, it's a light that comes up from the horizon. It's in a triangle form. It's like a glow, real low glow. As we said before, it gives the impression of a false dawn on the east coast and a false dusk on the west. It comes after the sunset over on that side. It's best seen in spring or autumn. What you'll see on the next portion of this, I did mine in autumn. It's November. I did this a couple months ago, so it took a couple nights, but eventually things kind of worked out, so that's good. It's seen as a hazy light pyramid sparking up from the horizon. So like I said, it's got a triangle form, but it kind of goes up and off at an angle, just kind of like a pyramid that just, like I said, sparks up. It just goes right up. Moving on, here we see the zodiacal light in the flesh. It's a no moon that night. It looks like it's a new moon phase is the best time to see it. It's nice and dark there. And you can see the light glows up, and then it kind of is at an angle. So it's not a straight, 90-degree pyramid. It's not going to have a sharp point like that. It's just a glow, So it's bright in the center down to the bottom, and then it's just going to glow up at an angle to the left or to the right, depending on where you are. You can see the light pollution here on the left. Luckily, this is a good shot. With it being, photos these days, of course, there's probably some manipulation here. You can see, I can already tell, the sky's dark, and the glow, the gradient is very sharp there. So that just, it might be just the digital, the way this thing's picking up like that. It could be, but of course the detail was knocked down a little bit. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and say that, it's just that's the best picture I could find of them that somebody else did from the one site I found. All right, moving on. So what makes this light? It's sunlight, and it reflects from dust particles that they were from the creation of the inner planets all the way out to Jupiter. So the particles around Mercury, Venus, Earth, it's kind of like, not like a meteor, not like an asteroid belt, but the sizes can be from like meteor size to smaller, like micron size. Really, really small, microscopic. Super duper small. And the light just goes through and it gives off that glow. Moving on, we have our observers here. The first observer who observed the zodiacal lights and brought it to everyone else's attention back then in 1683 was Giovanni Cassini. Now, we've heard his name before in other space programs in the past. Some people might be familiar with. But it was just a year later that this guy, I apologize for his name, Nicolas Fadio de Dulier, I'm assuming. He's the one who took after Giovanni Cassini, and he had more of an explanation of it. In the earliest knowledge of it, it was thought to be something that was in our upper atmosphere, some kind of phenomenon with the light. There was no thought of dust. It was only, they thought, something just around us. They didn't think anything further than that. So it was originally just a thought in the upper atmosphere. There was some sort of something going on there. They didn't know that much at the time back then. It was just, over time and studies, we eventually found out that it is, in fact, sunlight reflecting off of those dust particles, and we came to that conclusion just in the present day. Not this present day, but previously in the past. All right. In conclusion, here, as we saw, the zodiacal lights are just a triangle-shaped light. It could best be seen before twilight and before dusk, not to be confused with twilight or dusk. Not to be confused with twilight, which is, that happens all year round. That's in between, stuff like that. This is just something that happens at a short period of time, and then certain times of year it's easier to be visible. Sometimes it's not. Like in the picture said, moonless nights are the best for viewing this. And 60%, give or take around 60%, I couldn't find an exact number, of the light we see in the sky at night is courtesy of the zodiacal lights on a new moon night. when the moon's around, of course, the majority of the light we're going to see is that. We're not going to see any of the zodiacal lights there because it's just going to blow it out. It's not going to be visible there. And that's just that glow that we see. Of course, there's going to, of course, the light is put off out there, so we're going to see a little bit, but this just adds in a little bit of here and there. It's the best way to soak in that light is kind of like the example of, well, one interesting thing that I thought is like amusing about the zodiacal lights is when I was doing this process and asking people around, majority of people thought a telescope would help, and a telescope really doesn't do you no good at all. Telescopes are they're a magnifying device. They're you're going to look through the lights. You're not going to see them because the lights are so dim, so dull that you got to soak in that light. So, say for example, basic stuff here everyone knows. If it's, even right now, it's pretty late at night. And if I had a light on, my eyes, say your iris of your eye, it's gonna be, I'm really small like this here because I'm blocking out the light. It's a little bit bright, so I'm trying to get comfortable. Now, say if I walked right outside, of course it's gonna be really dark because my eyes need to adjust. So to soak in a lot of this light, say you go out at night, you want to see the zodiacal lights, go sit for about 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. And as you're sitting there, your eyes are soaking in all that light. They're adjusting, they're opening up, they're trying to see things. So after so long, you're going to be adjusted enough where you're going to be able to soak in that ambient light that's up there that's getting put off by that glow, and it's just going to, you're going to see it. Depending on your position, light pollution, new moon phase, some of the stuff we went over before. It's just, before I did this, it was kind of like, it's okay, but this kind of goes in with my conclusion. This is probably one of the coolest things that I've ever done and experienced. It was a long night and it was fun. As I said before, I hate going back to it, but as you'll see in the experiment phase, it was there. It was there. I've never seen it before. Never really heard about it. Nobody's really messed with it, and it's a really interesting thing to think about. Other than just people see all these blood moons and stuff like this, and it's just like, that comes and goes. Zodiacal lights, a really interesting thing there. It's a beautiful sight to see, and nobody gives it the time to see it. Nobody knows much about it. So I don't know. It was just really cool. I hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully, I'm trying to keep it going without a boring PowerPoint. So we're gonna move on to the experiment portion. I'll catch you on that side. Alright, so we've gone out and shot. We've gone over the gear we need. Next, we're going to go over, we're going to import some of the files that we ended up getting. And these are just going to be totally fresh. We're going to take a look at these. I'll pick one. We'll just dabble around in it, alright? So, this is what we got. That's shot number 4. I'm not going to go shot by shot, but we'll go down to where they start to appear. Alright, so keep an eye in the middle here, right where this lamppost is, and you'll see Jupiter. Right here, there should be a triangle, okay? This is where the lights are going to show up. So just keep your eye on that right there, and that's it, right there. Let's take a look, let's bring it back so there's not much sun coming up. This one's a little better, okay? So even if you look in the preview, up here to the top left, you can still see the slight sign of the lights. Now that's reflections just of the sun that's on the other side of the earth coming up, shining through that stardust and everything like that. So it's pretty cool. So like I said, it's nothing huge. It was a project. I had fun doing it, but let's take this shot and let's give it a little edit and let's mess around with it. I think there's a little bit too much blue. We'll go step by step. We'll take a little bit of the blue out, alright? We'll mess with a tint, just a tad. I think anything other than stars, like Milky Way, if you drop it down a little bit more toward the green, you get this kind of yellowish. That's fine for now, because we'll deal with it, and then we'll take the yellow out in a little bit. We'll go down to exposure. We'll leave that alone.
Any at this ISO and these shots, any moving around the exposure any higher, you're gonna get a crap load of noise. But noise doesn't always matter. We'll pop the contrast up a little bit. All right, highlights. This is where we're gonna start to see the light. Granted, the sun that's there, but the sun, remember, is orange. Okay, light pollution, there was a little bit, but it's still orange. This is a lighter glow, kind of blue, and it's kind of the same, same color as the stars in the sky back there. So that's how you can kind of tell a difference. Like I said, not a huge difference. It's nothing spectacular, but if you think about it, it's still really cool. It's not visible to the naked eye. Anybody, if you're familiar with camera settings, ISO 2000, okay? Aperture 2.8, 30-second exposure at 11 millimeters. That's, you're gonna get a lot of noise, and that's soaking in a lot of light. And or if it's your thing, I'm not big on that cropping, but you can crop it if you wanted to. But I don't like that, because having stuff in the bottom of a frame gives you like a sense of direction or perspective to everything. Of course, these are ugly light poles that we could, easily get rid of. And so that light pole's gone. That's not, well, you can still see it a little bit, but anyway, I mean, that's pretty much the final shot.
Alright guys, that's it for my presentation. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Leave me some feedback, let me know how I did, let me know what I could do to change it, quality-wise, anything like that. As far as the project goes, we went out for Zodiacal lights, we got them. Of course, the light pollution isn't that good, it is Ohio, so we make do with what we can, and we got what we needed, so that's success in my book. It's really been a great semester. I appreciate working with some of you guys on the discussion boards and the chats and stuff back and forth. If anybody has any questions about this kind of stuff, or you're interested, let me know. You can contact me through Blackboard or anything like that. But all in all, it's been a great semester, and I hope you guys have the rest of a good year, and hey, get out there at night and enjoy yourself.